Hi, everybody. Welcome to our practice today. My name is Stephanie Wagner, and I'm a trainer for Healthy Minds Innovations, and I'm also a board certified health coach. I'm delighted to be here leading your practice for today. And so, if you'll just share with me if you're here, do a little check in the chat that allows me to feel connected to you and to know who's practicing with me today. So, for those of you that may not be familiar, we are a nonprofit at Healthy Minds Innovations that's affiliated with a research institution at the University of Wisconsin-Madison called the Center for Healthy Minds. And we basically take the scientific insights that come out of the Center for Healthy Minds and we translate them into tools to help people cultivate as well as measure well-being. I'm really happy to be guiding practice today. We're moving into a new practice theme for the month of July, which is inner freedom. I'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment, but all of the practices that we lead here are rooted in our Healthy Minds framework of well-being. This is a scientific framework of well-being that points to a set of skills that are both trainable, but science also links them to being beneficial for well-being. And so these pillars are awareness, connection, insight, and purpose. So, inner freedom, I'd be curious to hear from you if you have any thoughts about what inner freedom means to you. If you'd share with me in the chat, maybe what it feels like, or even, yeah, how you might define inner freedom. As I was thinking about inner freedom as the theme, I think it can take many different directions in practice and really nicely align with the four different pillars in our Healthy Minds framework. One way that I think about inner freedom is related to awareness, specifically attention, and having the capacity to be able to direct our mind to pay attention to something specific rather than getting caught up in that rumination, that negative thought loop that can keep us sort of held up where we can get caught. We can actually notice those moments where our mind might be hooked in a particular story and then intentionally direct our mind to pay attention to something different. So it might be that we're actually watching the thoughts themselves, but we also could direct our attention to pay attention to something more neutral in our experience. So that's one way that I sort of look at inner freedom. We're allowing ourselves to gain the capacity to regulate ourselves. The second way that I'm thinking about inner freedom is really around compassion. Inner freedom means that we're connecting and cultivating more deeply a connection to compassion and kindness. So rather than getting caught up in self judgment, self criticism, self shame, again, those narratives that can be very negative about ourself, we can instead actually connect with kindness and compassion and hold ourselves in that light, noticing that all of our desire, all of the things that are challenging for us are emerging from this desire for things to be better, for things to be different, to be free from suffering. So we can cultivate inner freedom too by connecting with our innate kindness and compassion. So I think for the purposes of our practice, at least for today, we'll take this direction. We'll work with awareness, we'll work with connection, which is specifically compassion. And thank you so much. I see there's some feedback in the comments here, so thank you so much. I feel inner freedom for me is freedom from grasping at concepts both internally and externally. Yeah, that's really wonderful to hear. Thank you for sharing. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll practice probably for about the next 15 to 20 minutes. All right, so finding a comfortable meditation posture, one that feels supportive to your well-being right now. Maybe it means that you're lying down, seated in a chair or a cushion, so finding a space that feels right for your body. And as you're doing this, you can make a decision about whether or not you want to practice with your eyes open or your eyes closed. And settle in by taking a couple of slow, deep breaths. allowing the lungs to fill with air, and then releasing and relaxing on the out breath. And then taking a moment to reflect on your motivation. So, what is the reason behind your practice today? And just take a moment to connect with that silently in your mind. And then simply allow the mind to rest, resting in open awareness, not focused on anything in particular, simply allowing the mind to be just as it is, present, aware, and relaxed. And as we're resting in open awareness, we can allow thoughts to come and go. There's no need to follow them or resist them in any way. This is inner freedom. Allow the thoughts to arise and dissolve in the field of awareness. And sometimes when you rest in open awareness, you'll notice that there will be times when the mind is very still. No thoughts are happening. And so then you can just be present with the stillness. And then there will be those moments where the mind's more active. And so then you can just see the thoughts coming and going in your mind. And so inner freedom also means that we can direct our mind with intention, choosing what we pay attention to. So go ahead now and pay attention to something that feels inspiring to you in this moment. So maybe it's sensations in the body that feel really alive, or maybe sounds in the environment. So allow awareness to connect with whatever is happening in your environment or in your body. And so, as we're directing our attention to something specific, this is not about being overly focused. There's simply a light awareness of whatever you're choosing as your support. knowing what you're paying attention to and noticing when you're distracted. And then noticing where is your attention? Where's your mind? Are you caught up in some sort of thought, no longer present and aware, and gently redirect your attention back to whatever you're choosing as your support. So this is the training of directing attention. And as you're resting awareness on whatever you're using for support, you may notice some thought activity in the background, and that isn't at all a problem. So don't try and wrangle it or get rid of it. As long as you're connected with awareness, so this capacity to know, you're meditating. And so let's allow the mind to rest here for a moment, dropping, paying attention to whatever you were using as your support. And again, allowing the mind to rest in open awareness. There's so much freedom in not having to resist, fix, change, or manipulate what's happening in this moment. We can just simply allow the mind to rest. All right, so let's begin to work on cultivating inner freedom through a different pillar of well being. So this time we'll work with compassion, which is in the realm of connection. So see if you can bring to mind a situation in your life that you are having some challenges with. Maybe it's an interpersonal relationship or a situation at work or home. So see if you can bring that situation to your mind to the best of your ability. And once you've identified that situation, see if you can explore that underlying feeling of really wanting it to be different, wanting it to be better, wanting whatever pain and suffering or anxiety that the situation is causing you to get rid of that. So see if you can just connect with that desire for things to be different. You might do this through a feeling in the body or noticing thoughts in the mind. So being really identified with and hooked into the suffering is not freedom. So cultivating some inner freedom through connecting with compassion, recognizing that this situation is challenging, you want it to be different. And so let's practice some self compassion here. And you can choose whatever feels the most inspiring way to work with it. So, resting maybe awareness in the felt sense of wanting it to be different, sort of that longing in the body, or reciting some phrases in your mind. May I be free from difficulty. May I be free from stress and its causes. So, choosing whatever feels the most resonant and connected for you. And maybe there are some ways within this situation that you're being incredibly hard on yourself, judgmental or critical. And so just cultivating some compassion for how painful and toxic those feelings can be. May I be free from self judgment, self criticism. Take this wherever it feels right for you. And when you notice you're no longer practicing compassion, that's success. You're back in awareness. And so then you can just continue on with the practice. And from time to time, you may find that you want to take a break from the compassion practice. And so you can allow the mind to rest again in open awareness and return to connecting with compassion when it feels right for you. So let's just do this for another few moments. And so you may find as you continue to practice with this, connecting with compassion, that there may be some feelings that arise or not. So just allowing those to be accepted and welcome as a part of your practice. Okay, and then if you're not already resting in open awareness, you can let go of those phrases and allow the mind to rest. And notice any feelings, any thoughts that may have emerged from doing this practice. Seeing the thoughts and feelings that emerge within awareness. With awareness is inner freedom. We're no longer caught up in or identified with the experience. And then setting the intention to carry forth your practice as you're interacting throughout your day, practicing gaining inner freedom in whatever way feels resonant with you. So maybe it's just dropping into open awareness, allowing the thoughts to come and go, watching the thoughts. Maybe it's redirecting your attention to something neutral in those challenging moments, or maybe something has you hooked or caught, or practicing self compassion as you notice yourself being hard on yourself, self judgment, self criticism, or even shame. So just setting the intention to carry this forth for a moment. And whenever you're ready, if your eyes have been closed, you can open them and come out of your practice. Be curious to hear from you. Maybe something that emerged from your practice today. Maybe there was a feeling, a thought, an insight, whatever it is. And as you're doing that, let me just recap what we did. So, inner freedom is such a wonderful theme because it really can be practiced so many different ways. Today, we practice inner freedom through open awareness, allowing the thoughts to come and go rather than being caught up in them, allowing experience to be just unfolding as it is, not fixing, changing, striving. We also practiced directing our attention on purpose. This helps us gain inner freedom because we can actually choose where our mind is. We can choose what we're focused on, what we're putting our energy into. And we also practice inner freedom through self compassion, combating those narratives of perhaps shame, self criticism, self judgment, and instead connecting with innate compassion, that desire and motivation for things to be different, to be free from suffering and hardship. So, if you're feeling inspired to continue doing practice, want to highlight a couple of things. So, the first is I know many of you that do these guided meditations are already using our app, but if this is new to you and you want to check out our Healthy Minds Program app, please do so. You can download it free on the App Store. And then, secondly, we have our summer cohort of the masterclass starting on Tuesday of this week. So, if you have been maybe on the fence and haven't, taken the leap to register yet, this is such a great opportunity. During 4 of the sessions, we're going to have really prominent scientists in different areas of well-being represented. So really excited that Richard Davidson will be with us on not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. We'll have Helen Wang, who has done a lot of research in the area of compassion and connection. We have Palin Kezabir, who's done a lot of work in the area of purpose. And then we have Cortland Dahl, who of course is one of the people who put together and created the framework of well-being that's rooted in our work at the Center for Healthy Minds. So one last note here, and thank you so much for sharing about your practice. I see those in the comments. Wonderful. One last thing just to note is that we're changing the frequency of these meditations for the summer. We're going to be meeting every other week. So we're meeting this week, we'll be off next week, and then we'll be back the week after. So please just pay attention to the posts on social media that alert you to when these practices are happening, or of course you can always log into the Healthy Minds YouTube channel. So looking forward to seeing you at a future practice and wishing you a wonderful rest of your week.